Welcome to Jazz Zone Together, our new online jazz community, where we will provide jazz education resources, interviews with jazz educators, artists, and celebrities, along with valuable tips and repertoire suggestions. Today, we're excited to welcome trumpeter and jazz educator J.B.Scott. J.B. currently serves as Director of Jazz Studies at the University of North Florida and Director of the UNF Jazz Ensemble 1, a much heralded collegiate jazz ensemble. Now I'd like to turn the mic over to Dick Dunscomb to conduct the interview with JB. Dick, it's all yours.
Thank you, Bob. Hey, JB.
Hey.
Good to see you. Good to see you today, man. And let me just give a little bit more of your background. Your undergraduate studies with two really icons in the jazz education field, Rich Madison and Bunky Green. And during your master's degree in my program at FIU, you studied trumpet with Arturo Sandoval. Probably people have heard of him. As Bob mentioned, you're currently the Director of Jazz Studies at the University of North Florida and have an incredible program that you've developed. Can you give us a rundown on your recent activities with the UNF Jazz Ensemble 1 and Jazz program?
Well, the jazz program has an amazing aspect they call our Great American Jazz Series. We bring in jazz artists from all over the country and sometimes internationally to work with our students. 3 to 4 to 5 artists a year come in for 3 to 5 days at a time, and it gives such a great opportunity for our students to perform with great jazz artists, spend the week with them doing clinics, concert rehearsals, spend time with them. So that's something that we have ongoing with the ensemble. Folks that have been, and I made some lists just over the last few years, Jason Marsalis, Ingrid and Christine Jensen, Michael Benny, Alan Vizzuti, John Faddis, Bob Mintzer, Miguel Zenon, Dennis McCrell. I mean, where there's so many artists, and throughout the back years, back with in the early days, Clark Terry was here and James Moody. So the biggest thing about this program is our access to the artists and coming in and spending time. Also, the biggest thing about our program is our jazz studies faculty, which are stellar. They travel internationally, and they're always recording and doing things. So because of that, our students have the ability to touch base with top jazz artists in the country and the world, as well as study from some of the top jazz artists in the country and the world. We've done things like in 2015, we are fortunate to be selected as the Downbeat student winner for collegiate jazz ensembles. 2017, we were able to do the Chicago Midwest Clinic. And Dick, if you remember, we had a great time with that. You were conducting the band. We had Dick Dunscomb. We had Dick on there, and we had Dave Steinmeier and Lisa Kelly vocals. And what was neat about that one was that we presented music that we actually did, and we can talk about that in a little while, at the Pescara Jazz Festival that Dick invited Lisa and I to, and we used some of that music, and it was kind of a neat thing to bring that music back. But we've also done the Jazz Education Network performances in 2016, and we do the Jacksonville Jazz Fest every year, Savannah Jazz Festival. We do a lot of regional concerts in the area, so we're very busy. And I'll tell you what, the project Jazz Zone that you all put together, which is incredible. To be able to incorporate the jazz ensemble to record the playing tracks and all of that for this was it was one of our big feathers in our cap, because it was what a way to have the kids experience something like this, but yet give back to kids growing and learning. So yeah, there's a lot going on here at this college, and I'm very happy about what we're doing.
And you're doing it really well, as everybody across the country has said and recognizes. Now, because of this COVID-19 restrictions, we're not performing as much as usual. And I know that you do a lot of performing. So could you share with some of us some of your most significant performances in recent years?
Well, let's see. I practiced my trumpet in the living room and the front room, and I tried to wear a mask playing my trumpet. That didn't work. No. Yeah, it's been tough. I mean, it was amazing how, March, all of a sudden the whole world stopped, and all of a sudden not just income, but playing, face time to the horn to the face, and we lost what it is that we do, was going out and performing and playing for kids, all these clinics, judging, all kinds of things. And Dick, I know we've judged a lot together, and boy, that sure was a slap in the face to not be able to go out and hear all those bands and those kids and work with them. But one of the things that I know my wife Lisa was working on before all of this hit, she was getting together a play along, some tracks that were made for her, things that she found online to be able to go in and work and sing for retirement homes. And there's a lot of retirement homes in the area, giving back that way. So she was really getting that going, and all of a sudden, the phone called, and 25 dates in a month and a half just canceled. And so that was rough, but we started getting calls back when they felt it was safe to maybe put us in a back room and open up the sliding doors, and we just play in, and everyone sits in another room. So we started actually getting back playing, and it was neat. I'm a side man on those gigs. My wife, she calls the tune, she plays the stuff. And she don't even tell me what the tune is, what the key is. She just plays. Oh, you're gonna really like this one. She hits play, and then I'm sitting there going, "Oh, it's in B." Oh, thank you very much. All of me in B. No, I'm kidding, but it was. So that was fun to get back to do that. We did some virtual big band recordings, a full big band here in town. Ace Martin, who's the director of the Douglas Anderson School of the Arts for years for the jazz program, recorded a couple of tunes, and we all sent our parts in. And we did another production with UNF folks on an online thing, and we did a Zoom session with it. And it was like a brass group, but it's a jazz thing. So finding ways to do that. I did not find myself putting up a lot of posting on Facebook of me playing. I figured there was enough of a lot of other people out there doing that I didn't need to get in the middle of all that. So I just, was practicing and working on other things. I'll tell you what, it was kind of like a forced time to just get away from everything for a while and decompress. And I think that's part of it. So it not a good thing, but you make good things happen out of a bad situation. So, we kept it going.
Great. There's another interesting aspect in your career that I'm familiar with, and I think it would be interesting for our people to know about your time with the Dukes of Dixieland.
Yeah, that was a tremendous opportunity. I remember getting a phone call. Well, just a little bit of history. When I was at FAU with Dr. Bill Prince, we entered the Southern Comfort Dixieland competition, and we won. So I was able to really learn Dixieland music. And then the next year we came to UNF, the University of North Florida, and with Bill came up here and brought me with him, and we did it again, and we won again. So the owner of the Dukes of Dixieland was one of the judges that year. So I get this phone call late that year or the next year, saying that their trumpet player unfortunately had passed away, and they had somebody in, but they were looking for somebody. And I went over, and with Rich Madison's help, went over and auditioned for the band. And it was an interesting experience because I felt like I may not have had to go audition. They said, if you want the job, and Rich told me, he said, look, you need to go win this audition, and you need to do it for you and all of this. And I'm like, I didn't have any money. And Rich wrote me a thing. He says, here, I helped Lyle Mays, and he went with Pat Metheny. I helped Harry Waters. He went with the Dukes. I'm going to help you. It was funny. I'm going to help you. And here's a couple of bucks. Go to New Orleans and do it right. So I did. I went and did the audition, got on the band, and then spent 3 years. And I don't regret any of it, because the ability to learn that music, the New Orleans style, the New Orleans 2-beat, 4-beat feels, the swing feels, learning a lot about Satchmo, Louis Armstrong, and learning about the style. But not only that, being in front of the band and being its musical director, I had to set the set list every night. I had to learn how to pace the set list. And I feel like something I do well is when I'm with the big band performing, I'm able to, or any band, small group, I'm able to put the right tunes in the right order and make them work. And as a show. And I think that gets lost a lot. You know, I may have gone out with other people and been a side person, but I feel like what I learned with that band, as well as learning the style, but learning how to lead a band and learning how to musically lead a band. So that was a tremendous experience.
Great. Well, we were truly blessed to have you contribute, together with the UNF Jazz Ensemble, the recordings for our new jazz curriculum, Jazz Zone: The Beginning. In addition to your creation of the trumpet lesson in the curriculum, which also was fabulous, your lesson is filled with valuable information for teachers and students. What are some of the most important skills that are critical for the developing trumpet student?
You know, I was thinking about that, and a lot of times we can come up with the same answer. Be able to play your horn, be able to play in tune, be able to play in time, have technique, and all of those things are amazingly important, because without them, it didn't matter what style of music you play, you wouldn't be able to play that music, because technically you wouldn't be proficient. I think, you know, over the years, some of the things I think about with developing like a jazz player, or more just a professional horn player. One of them is the amount of hours of listening that a lot of students do, but a lot of students still don't do. They listen, but they don't listen to the music that they're listening to. And it's meaning that you got to find your sound. You have to find your sound in what you're doing on your horn. Like when I was developing, I feel like I can emulate a lot of different players. I can go from a Louis Armstrong to a Chet Baker to a little bit of a Freddie Hubbard thing. And if I'm actually practicing a lot and go for the pain, I can do a little bit of Maynard Ferguson and I can and Doc Severson. And be able to, you know, play a lead for Count Basie stuff, or Stan Kenton stuff, or Duke Ellington, or play the jazz part on Basie is different than playing the jazz part on Kenton, as different than playing the jazz part on Maria Schneider. And I think a lot of that has to do with preparation of theoretical study, but it also has to do with that finding your sound, what you want to sound like, and really listening to the players and developing that sound. Because if I wanted to sound like Maynard Ferguson, I could have the biggest trumpet in the world and the biggest mouthpiece, and I would try to sound like Maynard Ferguson. And I might actually succeed, except I would destroy probably everything in my face muscle-wise, because I'm trying to make a sound happen on such a big horn with such you know, a lot of heavy lifting playing in the upper register. So it's finding what you're finding your thing in the music, sound wise, and then developing that as you're listening to the artists and to the musicians. So listening to Freddie Hubbard, or listening to Miles Davis, or listening to Chet Baker or Clark Terry, and you hear their sound, and you try to emulate that sound. And then that steps into trying to transcribe their music. And I always, get the young players on the Miles Davis to do like Freddie the Freeloader or Miles' Summertime with the Harmon trumpet. It's two of the best, like almost perfect solos. They're not massively difficult, but they totally show you how to play and swing and placement of notes and all of that. And I think the kids, you get something like that under their fingers, then they can step into the next realm. I think they get there's so much is thrown at students these days, and I think sometimes too much is thrown at them too quickly, and they don't know what to do with it all. Like, just do this, do this, do this, do that, instead of, you know what, listen to this. You sound a little bit like Chet Baker. You know what? Why don't you listen to some Chet Baker and transcribe this Chet Baker solo? It's not hard, and try to play some of the notes and try to emulate that. And sometimes I feel like we've in this world we've lost the I'm not going to say by rote, but I think it's the what do you call that, when instead of going to school for plumbing you actually hang with the plumber, you go and study with the plumber and learn how to do plumbing. Well, I think that's kind of what we've lost. We've lost that aspect of just working with the musician. Go to the recording, listen to them, hear what they're doing, and then once you get it under your fingers a little bit in your ear and your love for it, then you'll understand the next steps.
That's really great information, and there's no substitute for listening. Mm-hmm. And especially today, with everything that's available on YouTube, on the internet, including the entire history of jazz from almost the beginning forward. Let's, for the moment, turn our focus to jazz repertoire. Share with us some of your favorite jazz standards, and could you play something for us?
Wow. I saw that listed that you were going to ask me that question or something like that about jazz standards. And, I don't have any like certain tunes and I'm like, this is my tune. I like songs, with good melodies. I was just thinking about earlier, I was practicing and I'm going to play it for you, is a Honeysuckle Rose. Nice, pretty melody, nice flowing melody. It's not a hard tune, but you can do a lot with it. I think that when people are thinking about standards, standards is different. Everybody has a different idea what a standard is. And you go to the Great American Songbook, you can go to, get into the real book and check out, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of tunes. But standards for us in the jazz world are things like Satin Doll and All of Me and Freddie the Freeloader, Someday My Prince Will Come. The tunes, the standards out here in the jazz world are standards that you might want to learn now because you have to go to a jam session and actually learn the tunes and be able to play with folks. I think it's important that you're playing music because we're in this music, in this business to actually make, of course, eventually we'd like to make some money. If we're in the business and that's what we want to do for a living, well, you want to be able to make some money at it. You'll get a lot of arguments and say, well, it's about the art form and money comes later. Well, that's great, but tell that to the power people that are looking for you to pay the power bill or to pay your house payment. They don't care. They want to. So if you have the ability to learn some tunes that you can actually go out and make money with, that to me, those are the standards that you want to start cultivating, because that's where you want to go. You want to be able to make a living eventually if that's where you're headed. And for me, it's tunes that people want to hear. One of those tunes is Honeysuckle Rose, Bye Bye Blackbird. Those nice, easy tunes. I mean, of course, I can go into tunes like Pan Up House and Giant Steps and all of that. And those are great too, but you're going to make more money playing Honeysuckle Rose, Bye Bye Blackbird than Giant Steps. Not that it's not a great chart. It's just, picking and choosing. So, but the key to it all is if it's musical, if you enjoy it as a student, if you enjoy the song and want to play the song, that's as important as anything because it'll get you playing your horn. So somebody else may not like this song, but you do. But for me, if it's a student, hey, if that gets you playing your horn more, then play that. I want you to play this too, but so there's so much music out there. It's hard to say. The standards I like are the ones that I'm going to go on the next gig on, and make people happy with. And I have no idea what that's going to be. So you wanted to hear something? Let me pull up my apparatus. I did have my shoulder surgery, so I have a little thing hooked onto my horn, so I can do that. So hopefully this doesn't powerhouse through your audio, but this is just a little bit of Honeysuckle Rose. Little Honeysuckle Rose.
All right, JB, it's so wonderful to hear you play. You're just a real artist with that horn. And I'm going to ask if you could help us out when we get into our post-production and maybe provide us a cut from one of your big band performances. We'd love to showcase the artistry of the UNF Jazz Ensemble 1.
Okay, I can do that.
Great. We appreciate you being with us today and sharing your information and experiences. And we look forward to working with you in the future. Thanks again, JB.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, JB. I appreciate your working on the project with us, and then your recordings were just phenomenal that you did for Jazz Zone, and we appreciate your being here with us today. To our viewers, we appreciate your joining us today and for being a part of Jazz Zone Together. We hope you found the presentation of real value. We hope you'll join us for future episodes. In the meantime, please stay safe and please keep making music.